Alright guys, welcome back. Continuing where we left off from the previous video clip here. I got 3 gondolas I've been working on. These are all ex-OEM cars from Atlas. They're Throw gondolas. I got these pretty cheap at $10 a car from a train show, and I was sitting on these trying to figure out what to do with them, and so I started hunting down prototypes I could potentially model, and I found 3 that I really liked in particular. A lot of these too, I was trying to basically experiment with some new techniques for trim film decal patching, and I was working on my gondola interiors and trying to recreate certain details that I've been seeing that I've honestly neglected up until this point, and I wanted to replicate. So I got these 3 cars and basically patched them up and partially repainted some of them, as you'll see. So I'll go ahead and start. A couple of you guys might recognize these. These are some TR gondolas. These are fairly common prototypes. You'll see these Holland steel. You'll see these Holland scrap metal sometimes, but these are basically ex-Conrail shopped gondolas, and they've gotten pretty faded over the years. So what I had to do with all of these to start, and the first one here we're looking at is TR538152. I had to partially repaint the car using a filter that I discussed in a previous video if you want to know how to do that. You basically just take a color and alter it by taking a color that may be slightly darker. In this case, I took a darker blue because the blue that's on these cars originally is a light blue, and I took a darker blue and sprayed it over the car to basically darken the car body color. After I did that, then I went back and did all of the re-decaling and patching. Certain bits of data I was able to save on the cars, like the thrall ownership logo and dimensional data, things like that I was able to save. But I just cleaned that up, and then I added some decals, some patching. I added new data there on the ends, as you can see. That's all various decals, and then again all of the patching is done with trim film because I've been experimenting with microscale trim film decals, and I've been very happy with the results, I gotta say. Added the safety stripes and did tons of gouging, scratching, and pitting effects on the sides. As you can see, these cars get really beat up, and I wanted to try to replicate that as best as I could, and you can see I've done that pretty well here. On the ends, it's pretty much basically the same thing. Minimal detailing, but I did replicate the patching there that's starting to get pretty beat up. On this side, pretty much the same thing. The patching varies a little bit, and of course I'm just trying to make that look different per side because none of these cars, whether the same, none of these look the same per side. There's that really nice rusty truck weathering. I tried to make the trucks look especially rusty, making them look like they've been sitting in a scrapyard for quite a while, getting loaded. And as you can see there again, there's all the really fine detail work with scratching and pitting, and then all the fine washes to blend everything together. I enhanced the oil work that I've done because all of the gouges and scratches are oil. After I applied the oils, I took some powders and did the more rusty looking overtones and halo effects around the scratches, so that's how I did that. Now the big detail feature I want to incorporate in this video and talk about real fast is the interiors, because up till this point I really haven't been doing too much in terms of detailing, but I've really been paying attention to how these things look internally and how you'll see things like this, like water building up and puddling over the areas, and you'll see on the center seam of the car, you'll see the water kind of gather there, the raised points of the car, and on the internal ribs there you can kind of see where the water will gather, and of course you get this accumulation of scrap metal and dirt and grime that will pile up and accumulate. How I did the stains is I used oil stains to basically go in there and make puddles of water, pools of water, build them up in the higher raised portions of the car. And then I went back with a little bit of white glue and added some real scrap metal, very fine scrap metal shavings to the interior to make it look like it's dirty, and that worked out pretty well. And again did some splatters and everything to look like some mud splatter, things like that. I got the X marks on the corners to indicate the center of the car, and then a lot of times they stencil or chalk mark the car number on the interior of these things, and I replicated that with a paint pen, as you can see. So I did that on this car, and that turned out really good. So this was a first car trying a couple different techniques, and it came out pretty good. So I went ahead and finished all the others, the other 2 in this case, the same way. This next one is another TR car, but it has a slightly different patching. You can see I did a stencil style number, a different kind of paint over patch rather than the stencil style patch that I did on the other one. And I just did some basic replication of details and pitting, scratching, added the safety striping. You can see the block there's all scratched up. There's the end of this one with the patching, and then check the interior out on this one. There's a lot more junk, a lot more debris on this interior, and I replicated that with a bunch of different materials, of course glued in place. Same effect though with the oils. Did some splatter, did some pooling and puddling on the interior, and again you got that chalk number scribbled on the interior there. So that's a cool little effect. This side, pretty much the same thing. This side I did some graffiti patch outs. You can see that. That's a cool little effect you can do on some of these cars because they do get patched up quite a bit because they do pick up a lot of graffiti, and I tried to basically replicate that on this one. On the last one here, this is a SIGX patch out car, but it is another ex-Conrail prototype, and I found that was pretty interesting. And again, an experimentation with some of that trim film decal patching, basically taking black trim film, cutting out little patch squares, and then putting new numbers and reporting marks over that. This one's got some old hazmat decals on it. I thought that was pretty cool, so I added those to the car. And again, it's just overall very beat up, very rusty. You can see the amount of pitting and scratching, and it took a very long time to do all that, but it's worth it in the end because you get this really cool effect. I'm honestly very happy with that. There's this end. You can see this end does not have the plate. That's something I should mention because most of them have this reinforcing plate with the data on the end. This one does not. I had to remove that on this car, and I also had to modify the ladders because this one had a different set of ladders. So I modified that and added new details to this car to replicate that. I also added the coupler lift bars on this one. And then here's this side. Again with that custom patching. I really like the patching again to bring that up. That looks really nice. It's very realistic. And I get all that nice rust. And rusty wheels. And then there's the interior of this one, which is very rusty and very oily and grimy, and you got tons of scrap metal lathing in the inside. This one has the number painted on the ends there in chalk. I thought that was a cool effect, so I did that, of course. And then this one also has the X marks every couple rib spacings apart. It has these X's, so I replicated that again with my paint pen. And then there's the number on this end. So that's a cool little effect, but that's a little trick. If you want to model gondolas for modern day, a lot of times they do scribble those numbers and reporting marks on the end, so make sure to replicate that on some of your cars. It'll add a lot more realism to your gondolas, I'll tell you what. Now, the last car I've done for a customer is one that's really freaking cool. This has been a model I've been working on for a while now. I'm going to go ahead and show the opposite side before I get to the good side. This is an Atlas ACF 3-bay covered hopper that I custom weathered and patched for CEFX 10972. The real car is not the same prototype as this. Unfortunately, no one makes the style of Chicago freight hopper that these are the real car is based on, but a customer wanted me to recreate this car for the graffiti. This is the one side I did. On this car, it started off as a light gray, and to get this color, I had to basically transform it into a yellow grungy color, like the real cars. They get this weird moldy yellow color. So what I did was I took yellow washes, built them up in progressive layers, faded them down, and then added a progressive layer of black washes, darkened everything down. Heavy grain spillage was done at the top, got all the rust pitting. The roof walk is an absolute mess. You can see all the bare aluminum as the paint starts to chip away. The hatches are nice and clean. Oh, I touched up all the details there, red handles, all that kind of thing. And then you got all the rust and pitting, and then you got all the grain spillage that's starting to mold, starting to streak down. You get these black, heavy streaks. These whole soybeans, so they get this really dark, grimy color, as you can see, so I recreated that. But there's the custom graffiti on this side, all hand-drawn and painted from prototype photos of a different car because I didn't have the opposite side, so I kind of had to base this off of a different car. But got the custom patching there, nice weathering on the wheels. I put the coupler lift bars and the train line air hoses and new couplers on this one. There's the patching on this end, and then the patching on this end. So obviously you're thinking, well, nothing too crazy. Well, wait till we get to the side that I was supposed to model. Check this out. Yeah. This is something I've been working on for a month now. Quite a lot of work that went into this one. The customer took a picture of the real car. He was working at an elevator here in Ohio. Took the picture of the real car, all 3 tags, said he wanted me to recreate them. So I went, got a car, and recreated all the tags. Before I get into too much detail on this, I want to actually show you guys the prototype photos because I have them on my phone. Because he actually emailed me these photos. So if we actually go in and look at the real car, we have it right here. He just sent me a bunch of photos of it sitting at this elevator. So I use these prototype photos as reference to model the model car, rather. Excuse me, getting tongue-tied there. But I think it came out really good. Like I said, I just tried to copy the tags as best I could. We'll get a nice detailed shot there. There's the custom patching, safety striping, graffiti, nicely weathered wheels, and then there's all the graffiti. It's all been weathered over with some washes to tone it down a little bit. The tag is from early 2018, so it's starting to weather over, but there's the chick. Looks pretty cool. And then there's this part of the tag as well. All looks really good. Again, a lot of work went into this one, trying to recreate the tag as best as I could. It came out really good though. I'm really happy with it. I can't wait to deliver it to him. I'm actually going to personally deliver this car to him, let him pick it up. So it's going to be fun. But that's the one I've been working on for quite a while now, is that one, the CEFX 10972. Okay, very last thing I'm going to show you guys for this video is a locomotive I've just finished. It is the 1381. I've officially just finished it. This is one of the XSP prototypes that Athearn has modeled. I didn't have to do too much to this, however the model did come damaged out of the package, so I had to fix a couple parts, repair some stuff. Biggest project on this was removing the class lights on the nose because they don't take those off the stock model. It's really annoying, but other than that, it's got all the correct SP prototypes, or prototype specific details. All I had to do was add a new snowplow, new detail parts here and there were needed. The horn was relocated because it was slightly too far over, patched that hole, added the antenna there. But other than that, nicely detailed out of the box. The fans were damaged, so I had to fix all those too. Got a replacement fan up there that I added, darkened grills, light washes down the side, heavy washes on the walkways, the normal thing for these kind of locomotives, and then tons of grime coming down from the grill. Light washes on the trucks. I added the full reflective sill striping on this one as a prototype photos. Nicely grimed up fuel tank. Then you got the custom waste retention tank added there. That's a custom detail part that I scratch made. Nicely dirtied up trucks. And then here's the rear pilot of this locomotive. Check that out. Got working ditch lights and everything. It's real nice. Love those SP specific details too. That looks really cool. I'm glad they finally did one of these. And then here's this side of the 1381 here. All finished up. There's all the nice details. Some rust starting to form there along the walkway. A little bit of pitting. But other than that, pretty much a relatively clean locomotive. It's starting to get a little bit deteriorated back there, but I thought that was a pretty cool little effect to do. So yeah, that's the 1381. Not too much to say there other than I wish Athearn had better quality control, because I literally sat on this locomotive for weeks trying to get it fixed because it was damaged out of the package. But what do you do? I had to fix it. Put it back together, got it weathered. So there's the 1381. Alright guys, so that pretty much wraps up this review for now. Hope you enjoyed it. Like you said, I've been doing a lot of these projects lately, trying to smash them out. I only got a couple more cars to go, but the next update video will be mostly my stuff coming up. So yeah, got a lot of cool stuff coming up. But hopefully you guys like this video. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube to stay tuned for more. Follow my work on Facebook and Instagram. I'm always posting pictures of stuff that I do, like this car, for example. I gotta post some pictures of. I'm always posting pictures, like I said, of what I'm doing. So follow me on my Facebook page, Dan's Custom Trains. Daniel Arnold is my name. On Instagram, it is Danny Dankinson. You can, again, follow me there to see what kind of projects I'm working on. So like I said, guys, hope you liked the video. Take it easy, and thanks for watching. See you guys.